What do we need to do either here within Atlanta and Georgia Tech and Georgia, or macro level, to really ready our workforce to accommodate and to encourage this reshoring trend? And again, I'm going to shoot to lead first because you've got that tangible sector, that actual company there, all the countries you're in. And I'd be curious to hear your perspective, especially on the textile side. What do we need to do for the workforce to really encourage reshoring into the U.S. and into the Southeast?
Yeah, well, for us, I mean, we talk about textiles, and some people will view that as a, not very sophisticated industry. But I can assure you that we have as much automation in our million-square-foot facility right a couple hours up street from you as any automotive manufacturer and other group that we cater to. But look, workforce is a huge issue, I think, for anybody who is in a vertically oriented business right now. We work very closely with our in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, with our technical schools, and creating those opportunities and communicating and speaking to those kids and their parents who will be advising them even back in high school. But it is a huge issue, and we can spend all day on this subject, but it also has immigration implications as well as we start thinking about developing the resources, the available labor, and the available skill sets that we need. I'll also tell you that we've got an incredible team. We talked a lot about China today, and located in Suzhou, which is in the SIP industrial zone, and we run up on similar issues there. I mean, it's wage inflation, it's availability of skilled labor, and the competitiveness for labor across all industry. And I think everybody on this call would, if you're in business, you would have recognized that as something that we see here, but we're experiencing that in every country in which we operate. We share those same concerns.
That's interesting. I've actually been to Suzhou, that special zone, several times, and
Yeah.
it is amazing how that's growing. I didn't know y'all were there. That's great, and
Right.
I'm glad to hear you have your facility here, just a couple hours up the road here from us in
Right.
Atlanta. And I encourage you to grow, and as you expand, you might want to bring that a couple hours down south here.
Sure.
But no, but Jadeep or Harry, again on that question, the workforce question, which is so critical in general, but certainly on the reshoring. What do y'all see on that? Jadeep, maybe you can
Yeah,
chime.
sure. And it's funny because I work for Agile One, which is a workforce solution provider. We
Right.
partner with our clients to provide workforce solutions, and on a global level, looking at every aspect of the business. So talking about the workforce, there are elements of workforce that are in shortage, and then there are in abundance. And what is happening is, the price or the cost of deploying those workforce are also playing a critical piece. Now, with this immigration issue, where that's going on with the H-1Bs and so on, companies have really started looking at that, now their cost of tech labor is going to be much higher and for a shorter duration of time compared to what it was before. Now, are there enough workforce in the US market that can plug those gaps? So a lot of the suppliers that we work with actually are working with the campuses, with the engineering companies, with the IT, with the engineering universities to make sure that they can coach the students with the right what is the best in the market or what is the demand in the marketplace so that they can create a good supply for workforce to all the companies. So I think, when you start looking at the workforce, you have the high tech workforce or the technology workforce or professional workforce, and then you have the non-technical or the manufacturing or the unskilled. What companies are doing is trying to figure out how do we balance that piece.
Right.
And that is where some of our suppliers are working with universities to make sure that they can create a good pipeline of candidates that are feeding into this ecosystem.
Thank you. Yeah, the immigration is another seminar for another day, but certainly those are issues that are going on. And Harry, you're smiling there. I'll maybe get your comments there, and then we'll go to a final wrap-up question. But your comments on the workforce side.
Yeah, so I've been working on that for 30 years because I come out of manufacturing. I've been in manufacturing for 50 years, used to sell machine tools. And the biggest problem is that we've indoctrinated the kids to all believe they've all got to go to university. You see article after article, ad after ad that says $1 million more lifetime income for university versus high school. And they never say that there's an alternative, which is, for example, an apprenticeship or 10 certificates or something like that. And so I did a study that showed that an apprentice toolmaker graduate at the age of 49 would have $1 million more net worth than an English major because they don't pay for the education. They make more money throughout their lifetime, invested, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't get through to the kids. The kids all think that university is the only answer for them. And so it's going to take a total societal shift where the full accurate information is given to the students, the guidance counselors, et cetera, so that they can make, it's like total cost of ownership. You can do total cost of ownership about where you get your parts. They should be doing total cost of ownership about their careers and their lifetime income, but people are not giving them the information they need to do that. So it's going to take finally shutting down some universities and converting them into places to train apprentices, because we need the apprentices and we don't need the so many liberal arts majors that wind up working at Starbucks.
Or moderating panels like this morning, but no, no, I hear you certainly. And
hard decisions, not easy decisions. I'm not saying that's easy, but if you want to succeed, that's finally what you have to do. You have to change the flow of many smart students into those technical programs instead.
And we hear that a lot. You saw probably, I had the privilege of having all of y'all on my screen here, and I saw all the heads nodding up and down when you were saying that. And so that's a consensus we hear often. I would one last question I think I want to ask, and then I'll give each of you a chance to kind of do a 1-minute wrap up. But real quickly, I think Lee might have mentioned, or a couple of y'all might have mentioned USMCA, which is of course NAFTA, 2.0, I guess. It did go through. I think there's some progress there. How does that impact this reshoring and especially the nearshoring? Because nearshoring would indeed be, I guess, for us, Canada, Mexico. How does USMCA impact that? And I might even toss just out there again to localize this. Here in the U.S. Southeast, of course, the automotive sector, for example, is a significant one, and I'm sure we've all read the stories about how a car seat, a seat in a car, maybe in a Chevrolet actually goes back and forth on the border, several times before it's actually installed in the vehicle. And so USMCA, I think, would have what are your thoughts on that? And not just automotive, Lee, you're in textiles, but how is that going to impact nearshoring? Anybody want to chime in? Lee, perhaps?
Yeah, so real quick, it was a modernization. The objectives of NAFTA were to really to lift Mexico and to integrate them with the Canadian and the U.S. government, economy at the time. And so we view this as a modernization of this. The difference between NAFTA and USMCA is that many industries, including ours, had a seat at the table for the negotiation here in this modernization. We're able to continue to leave some of the same protections in place for U.S. manufacturing and for manufacturing in North America. And so we see it as another catalyst, as creating, there's already sophisticated supply chains throughout North America. And this creates another opportunity to leverage those supply chains in support of what we know is a demand that is more immediate, more local, working capital investment, risk mitigation to drive all of that.
Super. Jadip, Harry, either one of y'all want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, from our side, what we see is, that there is, we have a lot of clients that do exactly the kind of work that you were talking about, John, going back and forth between the borders,
Right.
before the final product is delivered. But I think what's important is our clients have now started looking at technology and automation to reduce that going back and forth. So what is happening is, through all these trade panels, that has become an important part of discussion. How do we streamline the logistics? How do we streamline the process to create a very efficient and productive process? And in today's world, that is the kind of discussion that these trade panels are now having, is how do I cut the speed to the market?
Right. Right.
And we should continue doing that, because automation will then aid that discussion in delivering products in a very quick way.
All right. Harry, you started with us, and we'll give you the last word, almost, as they say, because we just have a minute or so left. But your thought on USMCA in a minute, or what do you think about that?
How about if I do that in my final statement? The USMCA is a nice change, but it's not enough. We should be much more aggressive about bringing work from Asia back to North America. My final statement, US and Georgia are well positioned for reshoring. We, the Reshoring Initiative, are available to help Georgia and Atlanta economic development and the MEP. Our methods are being used around the country. We can make it actually happen locally. Call on us.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great wrap up there. Gentlemen, I really want to thank everybody. We've come to the end of our session. I think there's just gobs of interesting content here. Again, Harry Moser, Lee Amick, and Jadip Majumdar, I just really appreciate y'all's time and perspective this morning. All the bios are in the program for the participants here. I know these gentlemen would welcome you reaching out to them. We, on the administration side of this summit, can connect you as well. So if any questions, feel free to follow up. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, and wonderful evening. Thank you now.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you, panelists.